Your journey to the unknown begins now. Have your boarding passes ready.
Hello and welcome to the Supernatural Station, the only train ticket to the unknown. I'm your host, Jaron Daniels, and I'm joined with my twin brother, Roman Daniels. How's it going, Rome?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm
Awesome.
excited. This subject we're going to talk about is one of my favorites, and we actually get a chance and a privilege to talk to Jonathan Robinson. He is a past life regression hypnotherapist who guides clients through subconscious explorations using hypnosis. He specializes in regression sessions designed to uncover emotional patterns, and we are excited to have conversations about past life regression and hypnotherapy. So, how's it going, Jonathan? How you doing today?
Oh, never better. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you,
It's
man.
our honor. Yeah.
So, you have been involved in this type of subject, and it is definitely one of my favorites. I am fascinated with past life and past life regression. I don't know if you know this book or not, but I was trying to figure it out. I was racking my brain. I was reading a book about a hypnotherapist. Well, he was a doctor first, but he became a hypnotherapist, and he was talking with one specific girl about her past life and helping her through stuff. And you probably know what I'm talking about, but he had like interviews with her over and over in the book, and it was really heavy for her at first. She had like a lot of mental instability. And then the longer he broke down those walls, he found out she had like multiple past lives from way back in the day. And one of them, she drowned, so she was scared of water in her current situation. And he broke that down and figured out that she ended up drowning in a past life. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what book that is?
I, I think I just read that one with my students, Many Lives, Many
That's the
Masters
one.
by
Yeah,
Brian
that's the
Weiss.
one. We couldn't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Great
Yeah,
books. I
he's
haven't fully finished it, but it's great.
it's a really good one. Yeah, and he goes over lots of extremely like fascinating stories, and it's just the whole thing is just like this story. And that's why people like past life books. It's just so many different stories and they all have a lesson.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you take a moment, Jonathan, to just tell our audience a little bit more about you? Just introduce yourself, maybe plug anything you want to plug. We'll probably plug stuff at the end as well, but just yeah, just introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
And what got you into this subject? Like, kind of just get into all that.
Yeah, my Journeys into Past Lives is my Instagram and social media and whatnot. And I got into past life regression from about 8 years ago. I was wondering what happens after we die and trying to figure out who runs the world, all those, theory, all those big picture questions. And I figured if I find this out, I'd find out the foundation of this, universe and why are we here? And I came across Michael Newton's work with Journeys and Journey of Souls, then Dolores Cannon's work, The Convoluted Universe. Read all these books on past lives, but I'm a skeptic. And so I said, well, if they can hypnotize people and do that, why can't I do that? And so I learned hypnotherapy. One after another, all my clients started going into their past lives, whether I told them it was a past life session or not. At this point, I've done about 1,000 sessions with people from all
Wow.
walks of life, all over the world. It's like an experiment. You can do it over and over, and it works similarly every time people go into different past lives. But they're uncovering deep truths about who they are. Birthmarks, fears, phobias are uncovered, and they're creating massive changes in their lives that are for the better. So whether it's real or whether it's a memory or metaphor, or some people can actually look it up and find like the addresses and the names of people who they were and stuff like that. So you can investigate sometimes. But the point is, it heals people, it helps people, it empowers people, and that's what I'm here to do is to help people be the best versions of them.
Can you tell us a specific example? And obviously, you don't need to give names or anything, but can you tell us one that kind of blew your mind? Because you are a skeptic, so this is good for me. Like,
Right.
this is cool because we are the type that like goes to believe it right away. So it's kind of opposite in a
We're like
way.
gullible. Yeah.
But is there something that just kind of sticks out that you're like, whoa, that just blew my mind? Like it's just so out of the norm for me.
Yeah, I have so many stories. I had a client a few months ago. I really like this story because it answers a lot of different questions about phobias and emotions that are trapped. And so she was a singer out of California, and she was hesitant to go on stage, and she didn't know why. She also told me that she is scared to go to Egypt, but she doesn't know why. And after the session, she told me this. Before the session, she didn't. But I'll tell you guys, she was scared of elevators, and every time she would go in an elevator, she would text her mom and bring snacks just in
Oh,
case she gets, it was so
oh,
normal for her. She actually forgot to mention it, which, we would consider that a rare, like, phobia, right? So, so we did a session, typically a past life session. So I guide my clients to a deep state of relaxation so they view their past lives like a daydream, like a movie. They're in the scenes. They can see their feet, their hands. They're basically like in this realm, and the higher self is showing them information that will best benefit them for their highest good. And she went to a few past lives. We went to a third past life in Egypt, and she feared that the most. However, she went there, she was a priestess. She was a beautiful priestess. She was, uh, serve the pharaoh. There's lots of other priestesses. She would sing. She would use her voice to sing
oh.
just like she is today, the pattern. And she, had a really good life. She would heal people with crystals and do ceremonies. And it was beautiful. Egypt was lush, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was a rainforest back then. It wasn't a desert. And she then told me that one day the pharaoh was being rude and mean to everybody, like usual, and she didn't like that very much. So one day she got in an argument with the pharaoh and said, "You can't do that," and she stood up for everybody. However, she got punished for using her voice. The pharaoh sentenced her to the dungeon. And in the dungeon, she mentioned it was cold and musty. She was shivering on the camera and during the session, and she was locked in a 6 by 6 cellar room in the dungeon to, be there forever. And she ended up starving to death, was what she said. So, answered all of her questions about why is she scared of like closed spaces. She brings snacks because that's how she perished. Her voice was punished for speaking out, and we were able to release that emotion, and she was able to do an interview with me. It's on my YouTube, and her voice sounds different and more confident now, and we found out why she hated Egypt.
Did you
So
Wow.
did you hear her voice sound different during those regression moments? Like, did she not even sound the same as she normally does?
Oh, that's a different thing. She after this a few weeks later, I did an interview with her, and her voice sounded more confident. However, this is a really cool question though. So in a session, sometimes I call the higher self forward, and it almost sounds like another entity is speaking through them. Their vocal cords change, the tone and the pitch of their voice will shift, and it's almost like I'm speaking to it's not one, it's many, and it's beings of a higher source, and they're always like really really loving, really caring, and they talk about, like, for example, they'll say, "Oh yeah, she should have we told her many times to open her third eye and ground herself. We told her many times to eat healthier. We told her many, it's like
Oh,
she's a
wow.
third person." Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever hear
That's sweet.
you never heard names though? Like when that was happening, did they say like names of somebody? Like where I am,
I ask them who they are,
Tabitha.
and they say, "I am not. We are not one. We are many." Meaning that after 5D, we go into 60 and 70. It's like a group hive consciousness, I think. That's why. So everything is, there's no secrets anymore.
Okay.
It's pretty incredible. It kind of like makes me wonder if like our brains are almost like a hard drive and they can, or our souls, I guess, might be. And it's like it hangs on as like an imprint to every life we've been through. Is that kind of what it seems like? Like it's, and then that's why they're kind of like first person again and seeing it. It's almost like a recording of what they went through and somehow it's still within us. Is that kind of what it is?
It can be interpreted many different ways. And so the way I see it is the higher self is like a we can't bring over all of our energy into our current avatar or current bodies. Our higher self brings over a spark or a fraction of that light into us currently. And it's almost like we have to learn many lessons and live many lives, hundreds, if not thousands of lives, whether that's on Earth or off planet past lives. We can get into that as well. Have many
Yeah.
sessions go off planet and alien past lives. But we are here to learn lessons. We're here to help others. We're here to celebrate too. We're here to be in service. We're here to learn and progress. And it's almost like we need to, in these different bodies, we're all learning lessons, but the essence of who you are, your character, your traits, your fingerprint, your voice will, in similar, like if you're a healer in this life, you might have been a healer in past lives, so that
Okay.
characteristics kind of carry over the essence of who you are, but your physical body will change. We've been male and female, rich and poor, dark skin, light skin, all different walks of life, and we're learning these lessons to ultimately not need to incarnate anymore, and perhaps it's a test so we can move on to the next thing that we're going to evolve into.
Have
So
you found, really quick, have you
yeah.
found that all the people that you do this work with, have you found that they see the same individuals that are like in their family and friend group and stuff now, like in their past lives too? Like they knew certain individuals that they're dealing with now. Have you found that?
Yeah, there is something called a soul group or a spirit
Yeah.
group, and it's a group of like vibrating souls that choose to incarnate with each other to teach each other lessons. And this is about 20 or so souls that incarnate lifetime after lifetime with each other, and we switch places. Children's past lives is really interesting because how is a 4-year-old telling the dad, "Hey, remember when we were Japanese and I was the mom and you were the son?" And it's a 4-year-old. And so there's Jim Tucker has 2 books, many thousands of cases of children, and the children are, so innocent and young. Where are they getting this information from? But yeah, it's almost like we switch places. Maybe we're the parent, then we'll be the child. You'll be male, you'll be female in different lives, and you'll switch places with your romantic partner. We can be teach each other warming and loving stories. Also, we can teach each other heartbreak stories as well. I had this one guy, he kept killing his spirit friend in battle and over and over. And then he came back as this condescending boss. And then he had to mend
Whoa.
that relationship so they could cut that karmic tie of that negative cycle.
Whoa, that's heavy stuff. That's like I could picture that though because it makes me wonder, it makes me think about like you were saying with the kids when they're like they were the mom in the previous life and all that. Um I feel like I've seen this in my personal life where you have like a higher connection to certain people and it's like it makes me wonder like was this person my wife in the past? Was it I've thought about that stuff before and I'm like that's so weird
Or
to
the
think about.
alternate side where it's like you just can't connect with somebody. Like you're always,
Yeah.
and it's somebody that's in your life and you're forced to deal with them, but you're always like, I don't know why we just butt heads and we just can't
Yeah.
mesh, you know?
But if we can
Yeah.
come out of that, you would say, in your opinion, just based on what you've seen, if we can come out of those things and find that higher self, that's the end, you think? Like that's we finally make it to that. I guess what do you see happening at the end of all that?
Oh, well, it's almost like we wake up with amnesia on this planet and we don't know where we're at. And so we have to figure it out. And if we knew all the rules right away on other planets, it's less dense. They can remember their past incarnations and a lot more. But here it's like a game when we're all on the same playing field, but our higher self is like it's almost like we're in the maze and their higher self is kind of guiding us through the maze and you go left, go right, look for the
Mm.
sign. And when I first found out about certain things, my whole body would vibrate like this is really important. Pay attention. So if you get those signs, if you meet someone, you don't even have to talk to them and you're automatically friends with them, maybe they're part of your spirit group. Likely as well, if you butt heads with someone, it's likely they something happened in a past life that, didn't go over well, and maybe you're here to mend that or just kind of not make it worse. So if we were told to be nice, that would be less authentic than if we actually automatically want to be nice
Mhm.
because that's just how, the universe is built on love. So when we go beyond the veil, near-death experiences validates this as well. Psychedelic trips validate this as well. But when we drop the body and our ego dissolves, it's almost like 1,000% love increase, and we're just like in this space of ultimate bliss and knowing and oneness, and it's so amazing. And so to evolve past what we are, perhaps one day we will be able to invent universes and build our own worlds and be able to, have more leadership or whatever we do beyond, this incarnation, well, it would want someone who is very loving and supportive and who has a kind heart to create really wonderful universes, not someone who has fear and scarcity and lack and who would create, universes that are really crummy and, dark universes, right? So I think it is almost like a proving ground that we're on here to prove if we're worthy of enlightenment to go on to the next evolution, which was possible that we, who knows what we create in the afterlife.
Have you, a quick question, have you ever gone into a session from another hypnotherapist to see if you can remember your past lives?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do trades like once a every 6 months or so, and I go into some of my more past lives, and I can barely see when a lot of my clients get clear visions and they're just in it, especially with my psychic clients and people with abilities, spiritual clients. I can't see very much, so sometimes I have to enhance it with some psychedelics and stuff like that. But I can go deep. Actually, breath work really helps me connect. But yeah, I've seen a lot of my different past lives. At first, I thought I was making it up, and some of my clients think that too. However, I did a session a few months later, and I saw the same images that are coming up. So just going with the flow, and
Wow.
everyone can do this, though.
Yeah, our grandma had this happen to her. She's passed away now. We were really close to her too. So, and that was this year, last year, just
Last
end of
year,
last
just
year.
barely. Yeah.
But I always believed this whole thing, like because of her story, and she talked about like this one life where she had this really abusive father, and she was a little girl, like on a plantation or like this old plains kind of place, and she ended up getting like thrown into the water well, and he just like let her starve and die down there, and he was just super mean and abusive. And then there was another one where she was like an old Native American um like shaman type lady. So a lot of really cool things, but she was always a female in hers. That's what was really interesting. Like all the ones she remembered, she was always female. So that's why, but what you already covered disproved that that's not always the case for everybody. It looks like we do all kinds of things. That's pretty cool. So that's why
Oh,
I was like,
okay.
man, we're going to talk to this guy and this is great because he knows this stuff and we've always believed it. So,
Yeah, we lean more toward one divine masculine or divine feminine, probably 60% of the time. But we switch places to learn different roles and lessons. And yeah, I got to tell you about this one. I just remember, I don't think I've ever told this story. It just happened. And she had a terrible mom in this life. I just did a session with this lady from Canada. She had a horrible mom, and some people just shouldn't be parents, and that's why a lot of people do come to me for PTSD or challenges or, childhood stuff. And we're able to clear that in one session or a few. And sometimes, we clear that, then we do the past life to find out the deeper journey of who you are spiritually. But so we did some clearing, and then we did a past life session, and she went into a past life as a Japanese fighter pilot, and she had this wife. But the Japanese fighter pilot was always off on duty, and he was gone. And he had to marry. He got married like arranged marriage with this wife of his. However, so the wife was her mom, and she was the fighter pilot. And
oh,
so he would always be off on duty and neglect her, and she would be at home, and she really resented him by the end of the life. And
yeah.
so that carried over to this life where the wife was the mom and the fighter pilot man was the daughter. And the mom was nice in person to all the neighbors, but at home she was really neglected, similar to that lifetime. So, it
Wow.
showed her why. And so she got a deeper understanding of it. And so she was able to forgive her mom finally and let that go.
Wow. So your regression and the the expertise that you're involved in when you have these sessions with people, the ultimate goal is to help them, like that's your main goal is to help them through those struggles that they have in life, correct? To kind of come back out of those issues so that they can live a better life here while they have the chance.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times my clients do feel stuck, or they're either they have an issue, aches and pains, they don't know where it came from. They feel like there's a phobia or birthmark or fear of something, and they don't know where it's come. I call it a forever feeling, and maybe it's a deep shame. I had someone be a general in an army, and their whole army platoon died, and they were shameful of it when they got home, and that carried over to this lifetime.
Wow.
But whatever it is, we are able to find the root cause of it, whether it's from this life or the last or wherever. And, or if even if it's just a metaphor that the subconscious is showing them, they're able to finally release that emotion because our subconscious traps that until we release it. And that's what's the most important thing about these sessions is releasing it, moving forward into clarity and transform.
Maybe you were a doctor in your past life too. If you're
I,
involved, if you're liking this again.
yeah, I've had people be medicine women and shaman and doctor. I think so. I was a monk in one of my past lives. That's why when I meditate, I can just like easy. And then I was an Indian woman in a past life as well, and so I have strong roots in India. And yeah, a few other ones. It's so if you're drawn to a certain culture or time period or place, that could be because you've had past lives there.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and it is something that makes you wonder, like how I said, I'm really into the West and I've been really into like the Western, like cowboy Western culture and just all the movies and all the vibes and just, oh man, like every time I get a chance, I want to get away from society. I really don't like the heavy hustle and bustle. Um, I also am prone to just the whole idea of like, yeah, just being in the mountains, trying to survive. I don't know, maybe there's something back there for me that happened, who knows? Or that I wish I had a chance to do and never did in the past or something. But and then you've probably heard these stories to kind of go to another part of it. Like how are you saying the birthmark thing? I've heard some stories of people, I think it was like a British, like a BBC show that talked about past lives. I remember on YouTube one time, and this one guy over multiple lives had a he would always get a pain like in his side, and he had it when he did the regression really heavy, but he had it like normally too. But when he did the regression, he was like feeling heavy pain, and they found out that he had was in the what was it, the civil, or what was it? It was a specific, oh, World
World
War
War
One,
One. Yeah.
and somebody stabbed him with one of those bayonets
Bayonets.
and he died in
Wow.
battle, and it's the exact same spot. And they said that even in a past life before that, he had something happen to him in a similar fashion in that same area. So that's
Mm.
another weird thing too. It's like, man, like,
Destiny to
Yeah.
be impaled. That's scary.
Yeah, those cycles or patterns carry over, whether they're negative or good, and it
yeah.
could be in the form of a birthmark and a wound that it's almost like the subconscious is trying to protect us from it happening again,
Hmm.
So I had this one lady, she went to like Gettysburg on vacation recently and she had a flashback while reading a book and I did a regression with her and she was in that war and she was shot in the gut and that's where she perished. So if it's a death wound with an emotional charge, she was probably scared as well and that carries tends to carry over. I had this one guy, he came to me with a birthmark and aches and pains in his shoulder, but he's never hurt his shoulder in this lifetime, so he doesn't know why. And we did a session, and he was a Native American Indian, a man that was really built. He was one with his body, and he could do all these things. And he had this girl, he was about to marry this girl, but one day he was impressing her, trying to jump over a river, fell in the river, went over the waterfall, broke his shoulder and he couldn't draw back a bow. He was so depressed, he lost the girl. And so that emotion, as well as the impact, carried over. And after the session, the birthmark was still there, but the aches and pains went away.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure you've also with some of your research and interviewing people. This is another fascinating part to me, and I do a lot of YouTube research on this. Um, but it's like near death experiences. Has that meshed into your kind of research? Like, have you talked to people a lot about that stuff? And I guess if you have, one of my thoughts is if somebody does die from a surprising death, like something like that, where it's like, whoa, like shock, you know,
I wonder if they're like, have you heard anything about near death experiences and like them like waking up and not knowing what to do for a little while, and then they carry that into their anxiety ridden in their new life? Like, I almost wonder if there's a lot of that carries over. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I near death experience is one of the modalities that validates what past life is because there's so many books on and I if you haven't read a book on NDEs, read a few books on that. It's really fascinating because these people are clinically dead. They're hard to stop, but they can report what the nurse and the doctor were saying in the operating room,
Yeah,
and there's no way, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of people that are reporting on these books and whatnot. And they also report similar feelings and sensations of what happens after we die, after we drop the body, is we float up and we're like we drop the ego and we're all this all-knowing consciousness. And so I will say, so after we if it's a ghost is different than an entity. So a ghost is someone who died suddenly. Imagine you jump in the water and it's cold water and you get, whoa, shocked.
mm,
You could become a ghost because you're going to be scared or they're burdened or it was a murder or death that was very sudden. And so you
yeah,
might haunt the place because we have free will. We don't have to go up. If it's a death that's like slow and we know it's going to come, then when we take our last breath, we're able to accept it more, and we're met by our spirit guide and perhaps like a loved one from that beyond the veil, and they guide us
definitely.
back to the light or to the many different milestones that we go to in between lives. Then we choose to reincarnate again.
Oh yeah, and there's so many stories. You're touching on some cool things there because one of the ones that I heard was a lady that had died on the hospital table and she floated up to the ceiling and she could see the whole thing like third person, so she saw her dead body there and everything. They said time of death 4:32 a.m. like the whole thing. And then they all walked away. They took their gloves off. She was seeing this whole thing. Then she heard the doctor say something about his own daughter and how she was like going through something and it was really heavy. It was a heavy situation for him. He was on the phone with her and she could hear the surgeon talking to her and he was like crying and it was like really tough for him. So and then she died, like fully died, and she went to her heaven realm, whatever it is, and this person met her that was a loving person from her past. I think it was her aunt, great aunt or something like that. And she was talking to her and she was like, "Oh, I feel so loving and so happy." She kind of forgot about her old body and she was just ready to like be in this world, right? With this happiness and love. And the aunt was like, "No, I want to show you all this stuff, but it's time to go back. Like, you're not done yet." And she's like, "I'm not done yet. Like, I'm so happy here. Like, what are you talking about?" And she's like, "No, you still have more to do. You have your kids, you have this and all that." So she reluctantly went back into her body, and she remembers herself coming back into the body. And when the doctor heard the little deet 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 coming back, right? So he comes running in the room, and she's waking up, and he's like, "Whoa, like it's a miracle and all this stuff." And she goes, "Hey, doctor, how's your daughter doing?" And like she asked the situation when she was already dead, the thing she heard
Mm-hmm.
from the doctor, and he literally like it just destroyed him. He's like, "How did you know? How did I tell you that?" And it was like super weird for him. And I thought that was a really interesting story. So you touched on a lot of that right there. That's really cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's so fascinating. What I had a near-death experience story from one of my clients from in a past life. He had a near-death experience in a past life. He was stabbed in a alley at nighttime, and he didn't die. And I said, "Who stabbed you?" And he said, "Well, those are my spirit friends. Remember the spirit family? That's
Hmm.
sometimes loving, sometimes not."
Hmm.
And I said, "Why would your friend stab you?" And he said, "Well, I didn't die, and if I was going to go down my life the way it was going, it would have just been gotten worse and worse and worse. But it took a different trajectory. A lot of these near-death
Whoa.
experiences, they changed their life completely because of the catalyst of what happened, right?
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a shakeup. Like, like yeah. Wow, I've never heard
It's
that
like you're
before.
not gonna change. I got to do something.
That's
Yeah.
We
crazy.
humans, we don't change when we're comfortable, or do we?
Oh,
We change
no,
when
I
we
struggle with
absolutely
change,
have
so I
to.
get that for sure. Definitely. Have you ever doing this? Have you ever had or done research on, but maybe if you've done it yourself, that'd be interesting too. But Have you ever had a client that you're doing regression on that had like maybe like an scenario with like alien life forms?
Yeah, yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, so I want to do more of those, but a lot of times people don't find me because I mostly do the trauma release and past life regression, but I regress someone to find a shoebox full of $2,000 in their garage they forgot about 2 years ago, and they were able to find it. Um, and so I've regressed someone in a session to a close encounter, like an abduction scenario. They weren't sure what happened, and what happened was pretty wild. So we did the session. We went back to the moment prior, the day prior, an hour before it happened. And they were in the room, and they don't normally fall asleep, but they fell asleep in like the afternoon that day. And the neighbors reported seeing lights in the sky. And so that made her confirm that there was something weird that happened that day, but she didn't remember. So we did this regression, and she went into this. What happened? It was a while ago. She went. We did the regression, and I brought her to the moment of the abduction, and she said her body stayed there, but her consciousness went into the ship above where she was, and her consciousness went into the ship. And I said, "What's happening in the ship?" And then she said, "Well, this is like my higher self, or my um, my spirit guide. They're helping me, they're teaching me things, they're giving me downloads, they're kind of monitoring me, and then they're going to put me back." And I said, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" She's like, "Well, we're learning how to like manipulate energy and like levitate." And she said it is her higher self is projecting her consciousness into her current body. Imagine that, like your higher self is above you on a spaceship above Earth, projecting the consciousness of that into your current avatar. But we don't have any clue about why or what's happening.
Wow.
So, and that's happened 3 or 4 times now out of 1,000 sessions. So I don't usually ask, but I should ask more. But
Did
it makes
you?
you wonder,
Yeah.
Hmm.
what's,
Did she say what this higher consciousness looked like? Did it look like a classic alien that we hear, like a gray type design, or was it like a human? Because you hear like there's lots of different alien entities that people report, the Nordics and all the different ones,
The
but do look
mantis,
more
the light
human.
beings. Yeah.
But and the
Hmm.
light
hmm.
beings could be misconstrued as like anything spiritual anyway. Do you remember what she said about that?
So
Or did you
this
ask?
example, no, I don't remember what color skin she had. Um, but I've done sessions with other people that had green skin and a tail, blue skin and that were scaly, black skin. One had blue skin that with like 8 arms, like the depictions in India.
Oh,
And
wow.
Whoa.
yeah, they were levitating, and man, I've done some sessions with this lady who was working on crafts currently in her current life on Earth with anti-gravity propulsion. And she's a vegan. She doesn't feel like she's from here. And we did a session, and she went to a past life on a planet with two suns. And this planet with two suns had multiple different species of humanoids. It had humans, like humanoids. It had reptilians. It had Nordic whites, I think, and something with blue skin. And I said, "What do you guys do? Like, how do you get along?" She's like, "Well, it's okay because we all get along. We don't have the same ideas, but we want different things, but we don't fight. We don't have war like you guys do on Earth." And I said, "How do you do that?" She's like, "Well, we meditate. We think about things before instead of reacting, we respond, and they resolve things without violence." Um, but I said, "What do you guys do a lot?" She's like, "Well, we actually do a lot of rituals. We meditate, and we connect because even though they're a different species, they have to sleep, and they have to connect. Like when we meditate, we like connect with God almost. When we meditate, we connect with the higher source, is what I'm saying. Whatever God is to you, could be the grand creator or whatnot. So I found that fascinating that even on other planets, they do rituals, they meditate, they just enjoy the little things in life like sunsets.
You know what's funny? Just me being a gamer. I think of Assassin's Creed and how you have to synchronize in that game. Like you have to go to these high points and just like sit there and then jump off and like jump into like the whatever's down below. It's usually like a haystack or something like that. But it like makes you synchronize with that world that you're connected to. It's like a sim, it's a sim world type of thing that they're in because they're going back into like the past. But that's what that meditating reminds me of kind of is like you're all of a sudden getting more connected to what everything is, like the oneness of the universe and stuff. I've never meditated. I've never tried it. Is like, what does that process look like for you? Is it just like thinking
Oh,
of
it's great.
nothing
I do
and
it.
closing your eyes?
Yeah, well, like I was a monk in my past life probably. So I I have an app coming out called Journeys into the Subconscious, and it'll have meditations and hypnosis on it. And basically it's transcendental meditation is a really easy one, but it's syncing your brain and heart coherence. And so if people with high blood pressure, people that have anxiety, really all kids should learn meditation, Reiki from a young age. There's something called the telepathy tapes where the kids are
Oh yeah.
like have you
I heard
guys
about this.
interviewed anyone with that yet? I would interview some people with that. They can use their telepathic
Aren't they
abilities.
like people that are on the spectrum in that one, like autistic sort of thing? And yeah, that's really interesting. That we definitely need to talk more about that. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, yeah. So fascinating with and so like they're tapping into a different part of their brain and it's yeah, it's pretty wild. So anyway, we have so much ability that we just don't use in our brain. And so meditation, Reiki, it's healing with our hands. When I think about it, my hands get hot. There's like a different vibration that's happening. But I mean, if you're busy, you should meditate 20 minutes a day. If you're really busy, 40 minutes a day. So it gives you a nice reset. Almost like anyone with anxiety can do breath work and then do a meditation, but it helps you like imagine your mind's like a computer and there's all these programs running and there's junk in the cache and there's emails that don't need to be in there thought about and you get a bit of a nice reset. That's like when we meditate, we reset and we feel way better, refreshed and rejuvenated. That's why I created my app, Journeys into the Subconscious, for people that want to do this daily and you can re-up and improve your sports performance or confidence or sales or stop smoking or weight loss. There's a bunch of sessions on that. There's journeys and past life journeys and custom journeys. If you're scared of fish or nail biting, it'll print you out a session with my voice for that.
Mm, wow. And you said, is this app available yet, or is it still in production, still being made?
It's almost ready. It should be done by the end of the month. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to follow up on that once it's all ready to go. I'd like to try it out. Is it going to be a free app, or do you pay just like a upfront fee?
You'll get a free trial and then
Cool.
it'll be really affordable though. Because yeah,
Nice.
my sessions are pretty, expensive because like really I get really good results. So I mean some of these sessions are priceless and I want to do it for free. That's why I created the app to make it really affordable for everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. We'll have to definitely let us know when you do get it done, and we'll have to. Is it just going to be called the same as your Instagram? Is that what you called the name of the app too?
It's similar. Journeys into the Subconscious is the
Okay.
app, then Journeys into Past Lives is
Okay.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just said that, but I didn't catch it. But no, I appreciate it. The other question I wanted to ask you about that I thought was, and it was from a little bit before, but and you might have sort of answered it, but do you think that we have a chance to like choose the next life, like the next situation we're going to go through? Or do you think it's like chosen for us? Like there's something that has to happen and it's just you're getting forced into that next one in a way.
Well, I'll go through the major milestones that we hit when we die. So after we die, we drop the body and we're greeted by our spirit guide or loved one beyond the veil that helps us into the spirit world where we go up. Well, there's no direction. We go into a realm that is of a formless realm that we go to a healing center first because we have a lot of earth trauma in this lifetime. So we need to heal from that first. We meet with our spirit group, a group of souls that we like to hang out with. And then we do a life audit. So we audit our own life, what we did good, what we did bad. If we were really mean to someone, we might be able to see or feel that from their position or their shoes of, hey, you were, really rude to that person, that you made them feel that emotion. And so it's our own our own critic, our own inner critic is the worst critic, right? So there's no one judging you, or you don't go to purgatory for things you did bad, or at least I haven't found a hell yet. I'm open-minded, but I just haven't, and I've never heard of it actually beyond certain religions. So after we do a life audit, we go meet our spirit group again. We're able to go to the Akashic records where we're able to kind of visit uh, infinite, infinite wisdom, and we're able to visit different things. But knowledge is only one thing, experience is another. So don't mistake the map for the territory. A lot of souls say, "Oh, Earth's going to be so easy." Then they come here and they get into a body that isn't so easy. And but actually, souls line up for more challenging bodies, like disabled or bodies with harder lessons. So if you have a challenging life, listeners out there, you may be a high level soul that chose to incarnate to because you are strong enough to overcome the challenges that you're facing to learn the lessons. And so there is another meeting prior to when we incarnate. So to the question, there's a council of higher spiritual beings that kind of have a handful, maybe 5 or so lives that we can choose from. So we can kind of pick how would we best learn our lessons. And there's a karmic contracts that we'd like to learn. Oh, I could play the violin in San Francisco, or the drums in Baltimore, or oh, I could be a mountain climber in Canada. So you can choose different like lessons or trajectories of the life, and you have milestones where you'll meet your spirit group and you'll connect with them, and you'll prepare for the all right, when you meet the person with dreadlocks, you know to make friends with them, and do a kind gesture so you guys become life partners or something like that. But I'm gonna look back on my life and be like, oh my God, how did I miss all those signs? Complete bonehead, right? And then we choose to incarnate. And then, so after we kind of choose a handful from a handful of incarnations or avatars, then we choose to incarnate again, wake up with amnesia, have to figure it all out again. So, yeah.
And wow, being devil's advocate, because you did bring up the hell situation. Um, I consider myself Christian, like I believe in Jesus and stuff. But the only reason I want bringing that up is because, man, it's like I've personally seen some weird, kind of evilish spiritual attacks, in my own life, and I know a lot of our listeners have as well. A lot of people have dealt with some stuff that's pretty out there. And so as far as that goes, like, do you think that's like because I think, like you said, the human mind's really powerful. So maybe it could be something like that. We're doing this to we're kind of projecting like a tulpa or something. Or, do you think that there is like an enemy in a way that's still trying to kind of make you not reach your higher self? Do you think there's something going on there that might not be hell and the devil, but it might be something people misconstrue as something trying to stop you from getting to where you need to be?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just saying I haven't found a place of infinite purgatory where you go to suffer for all of
Sure.
eternity. There are entities for sure. There are a lot of entities, vampires. There's entities that perhaps we don't, that are low vibrating, that kind of fool us, like Lucifer is a trickster, and they trick man into doing silly things that under stress they wouldn't normally say yes, but they're vulnerable. If you're by a graveyard, don't. The only time I've ever experienced anyone having a entity enter them is when they invite them. So
Yeah,
don't invite them, people. They
exactly.
can't get in you
Yeah.
unless you, because we have free will. So, and also they're not going to hang out around me or you who are high vibrating souls. They're going to go after someone who's vulnerable, addicts or people that are really hurt, because your aura protects you. Your aura is like a force field, but if your aura has weakness and soft spots in it, they can get sucked in like a vacuum, actually. So don't invite them in. And if you did, there's ways to get them out. But so there are, dark forces out there that are against us. But having those protections and asking for help is
Do you think that's a energy related, like energy vampire is the term a lot of
I was
people
gonna
throw
say
around?
I'm an energy vampire sometimes. At least I feel like it.
I've seen some people in my life that are, I feel like, are energy vampires that are just really man, you're around them, and it's just like there's this one. I'm a property manager as far as my normal job, but there's this one lady that would come in and her neck was like down like this, like she couldn't put her head up all the way, and her eyes were countenance was always down, and she just had this like depressive vibe. She'd walk in, it was literally Eeyore, but a girl, real version of Eeyore, and like she'd come in and oh my life sucks. I got all these health issues. And it was just always bad. Like
Hmm.
nothing ever good came out of her mouth. And it's like, man, like I really felt like she had like oppressive things just like on her back and holding her, and it just felt like that, you know? Do you think that there's like an oppressive it's like for energy that they do those types of things to us? The low vibrationals?
Yeah, yeah, those, they say hurt people, and if people that are negative perhaps had a tough childhood or tough, bullies, all the bullies I knew in school, I realize now had like divorced parents and like horrible, upbringing, and they lashed out irrationally on, other students. And so, from a higher perspective, we can be compassionate toward them, but keep
Hmm.
your vibration high, protect yourself. Don't be an empath and just take on her emotions just because she's near you, but you can, smile and raise her up. So that's what I want to do is I want to raise everybody up around me.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
good. I can feel that just from talking to you actually that you come off as like a really positive person, you know. And that's good. It's a nice because we are both property managers, so we deal with like a lot of people's issues all the time, you know. Like I can't imagine being a police officer or something because all you see is
Yeah.
the bad, you know, for the most part. You just have some good moments, of course, but
you find a cop
it's
that's just
all
really
this
happy
trauma.
and he's just
Yeah.
like really cool all the time. Like, man, that guy was also a monk before this or something, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I thought about it and I'm like, man, that's such a tough job, to have to
Yeah.
deal with people at their worst.
Hmm.
Everyone every day it's like someone at their worst, and
Yeah.
they're doing the best they can. Usually, most of the ones I met are really nice people. They have such a tough job though. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's thankless a lot of times too, you know. Every time I see cops, I'm always like, thank you so much for everything you're doing. Like, I know that's tough, but
Yeah, thanks for keeping people safe. 1% of people are silly, and 1% of cops are 1% of used car salesmen suck,
right.
1% of, well, more than 1% of politicians probably, but
Yeah,
Yeah, for
um
sure.
so they ruin it
definitely.
for everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I know how long have we gone? It's we're almost at an hour probably, right? Or a little
We're getting
longer.
pretty close. Yeah.
We want to be respectful of your time. I know that it's late for you over there, so we appreciate it. Um,
Have,
is there something else you
yeah, I
want to
want to
bring up?
ask you, have you just going back to one of those another cool anecdotal story. Have you heard of Alexandrina Simona, her story?
Sounds familiar.
It was
It's
from it was from like the 1900s in Palermo, Italy. But I guess she was a doctor or actually no, her mom was the doctor, and they they lost a 5-year-old daughter named Alessandra, this girl Alessandra Simona. Around 3 days after she passed away, the mother dreamed of her again, and she told her not to cry. The daughter that she dreamed of that died told the mom not to cry because she's coming back to her as a baby, just like we were talking about before.
Oh, wow.
And most people, of course, would conjure that up as like mother's grief, right? Like that makes sense. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you'd think like, oh, I'm just trying to heal from this, but she also was told by this daughter, the spirit daughter, that she was going to have complications with her pregnancy, but she was still going to be born and it was going to be her again. But she was also going to be a twin, which is crazy. That's why I want to
Mm-hmm.
bring this up. And she's like, and the twin is going to be another past life, somebody else that's in our spirit group that is an older spirit guide that is going to act older because of that. So and she literally had twins. The one girl that said she was her daughter had all the same characteristics. She did have complications with the pregnancy. Both babies came out fine, but the other one that was the other spirit relative did act older. So even though they're twins, one of them acted more like a mom to the other one.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was like super strange. And so all these things came true, and I thought that was a really cool one as well. But yeah, I think that's another fun anecdotal story that
I guess I have
was
one more
awesome.
question for you that
Yeah.
kind of relates. Art, because I know that you were talking about that whole thing where it's like coming back in the soul group and all that. Do you think there's that happens with pets sometimes too? I know this is like kind of off topic, but do you think that happens with pets where it's like you lose a dog and then all of a sudden you get a new dog that's a puppy and you're like, man, they have the same exact personality. They do the same things. Like they're, and it's like, that's my same freaking dog, you know? And I've heard
Yeah.
that from a lot of people. Do you think that's a thing?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I had a hypnotist friend. He was Iranian and he was a smart aleck. And one of the Iranian guys said, "Is that your dog?" And when he was 19, he was in Iran. Security officer, policeman, or someone said, "Is that your dog?" And he's like, "No, I don't care about it." Then he shot the dog and killed
Ooh,
it. And then when he moved to America, he got a new dog, and it was the same. The soul of that dog was in. He wanted to, have another chance to live with them, and he confirmed it with a pet psychic. And I used to not believe in these psychics and pet psychics and whatnot, but before you say no, go to one. Go to three, actually. Don't tell them your name. Don't tell them anything about you.
mm,
And see, go to three and see if you can compare notes and then tell me no, you don't believe it. But because there's some really good ones out there, and I think they've been super accurate for me and my time of grief when I needed them most. And so yeah. And if you don't believe in past lives, get your own session and we'll
yeah.
see, as well. And the children's past life stories, what you were talking about, is they're so fascinating. The children, people believe those more than my clients because they're so innocent. The kids, they're
Yeah.
like 4 years old. How do they know all this? And they can ask the kid 60 different questions about who he was. Then they research the family and they say, "Oh yeah, he was my dad and he did die in World War II and he was in this platoon and this was his address." And it's like, where does this kid come up with all this?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're remembering their most recent past life. That's why, and it's fresh on their mind. That's night terrors is what's happening when the kids do that. So when the parents, don't suppress the kids. And also another fact is kids operate in theta frequency, the frequency of hypnosis, until age 8. So they're operating in that theta free. So that's why they can remember it so vividly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about that, and we've had our own personal things come up with my son and stuff like that and different things. Um, that makes a lot of sense. I've
Oh
never heard
yeah.
that before.
That's
I've
why I
heard
looked
like
at
the
you. I was just like,
yeah,
what?
I've heard like the veil is thinner, like, but that's probably the same as a different way of saying the same thing. And I guess that's what one of my complaints was is like we don't see go me and him used to have like a lot more paranormal experiences, and I have physically seen apparitions and stuff, and I don't it doesn't happen to me anymore now, and I'm like, man, like not that I want it to necessarily, but I'm like, why did it happen when I was a kid, but now it doesn't? And then that's probably why.
Well, you hear the operating innocence, like the innocence is there still, like you're saying the theta vibration makes sense, like you're saying,
You're not
because
jaded yet.
yeah, it's like you're still your gravity's not dragging you down too bad. You're ready to still you still have a good memory. Like your memories, yeah, maybe you're more your brain's more malleable, like you remember more.
Hmm.
I think that's really cool. But
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to sign up for um your sessions, do you do that like do you do like Zoom call versions or do they have to actually come to you physically?
Oh, I do mostly online. Yeah, and I
Okay.
found it works better than in person because you can do it from the safety and comfort of your own house. I record the audio and your eyes are going to be closed after the first minute anyway, so as long as you can hear my voice, it's like I'm right there. So, I do free introductory calls. So if you just want to make friends, reach out. Journeys into Past Lives is my social medias, Instagram and YouTube and website and yeah, I meet spiritual people from all over. I've done sessions with people from, 50 different countries probably. And um, I'm just happy and honored to guide people through this experience. And everyone can do this, guys out there listening. So if you want to try it, um, let me know. If it didn't work before, that's okay. With me, it will.
I love that.
Nice.
Is there any other final thoughts that you want to add to, I mean, something that you weren't able to get out today? I mean, I know we just kind of talked about basic anecdotals, but also a lot of the stuff you do. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end?
Hmm. Wow, yeah. I hope by the end of this, people will see each other as spirits and in a body instead of our physical differences, because we've all been male and female, rich and poor, dark skin, light skin, and we would treat each other with more compassion and treat everyone the same. I treat everyone the same, even if they're a millionaire or if they're make $10,000 a year. I treat everybody the same no matter what, and I feel like more. if we all did that, and not just if I could gain something from this person,
Yes.
if we're nice to them, and if someone's nice, you don't take advantage of their kindness or weakness as well. So we need more people that do see beyond the veil, and one foot, we can't have both feet just in the la la land either, though. So one foot in the 3D, one foot in the spiritual, and make this life a campground. So campground is where you find it and you make it better. And that's why we're here. We're here to camp on Earth for 80, 100 years and then make it better. Then we found it and leave and come back. So think about it like that. Enjoy life, celebrate, and let's have the most fun we can while we're in human form, and be kind and friends and party and have fun with each other.
I love it. That's a cool
Nice.
message.
Yeah, enjoy each other's company and don't have expectations of each other and don't
Be in,
have preconceived, notions
be in
on
the present. Totally.
what you think they are just by
Yeah.
looking at them and stuff. Yeah, that's really important. I love it.
Well, geez, Jonathan, I appreciate it. That was a really cool conversation. I think we're gonna have more of these types because a lot of the stuff we talk about has been mostly related to. I mean, it's all supernatural. That's what's so cool about our podcast. It can be anything related to this type of thing, or even way on the off ramp, somewhere completely more intense when it comes to their experiences or whatever. But I really appreciate you being on our platform, and we'll definitely share your links and stuff. And I appreciate you saying your Instagram and the app and everything. And we appreciate you being here. So thanks for taking the time, Jonathan, and we'll be in touch, man. It's awesome.
Hey, thanks for having me. If you haven't checked out some of their other episodes, they're really exciting episodes, lots of amazing people. So thanks for having me.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you.
Okay.
It's our pleasure. We appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, Jonathan. That was fun.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. Appreciate you
We
being
did
on,
it.
bro. Yeah, we're good. We just
All
wanted to
right,
shut that
cool.
off so you knew, but thanks for taking the time. That was awesome. And I even learned some stuff like it connected, like some of those things connected for me. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it because there's, with the Christian mindset, it does in a way, it can make you feel like hopeless sometimes too, because you're like thinking things are either this or that. And I'm kind of going away from that mindset, and like you said, just being more present. I still believe the higher power in my head is Jesus, but maybe that's me, right? Maybe that's what I need at this moment. But I do
Hmm.
appreciate it because I think it's really cool to hear, because it does kind of connect all around anyway. If people, like how you said, the veil could be a different name for the same things you're talking about. But I really appreciate it because it did help me feel better about like being even more present. I've been trying to be more present every day. But this has been
Yeah.
helpful. So
Yeah, and that, I think what I do only adds to the validity of a higher power and faith. I actually listen to Bible verses when I go to sleep, so
oh, that's cool. Heck
I
yeah.
love it. It's mostly stories, 70% stories with a meaning behind the story. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why it's so interesting. But yeah, I've had people meet with Jesus in the spirit realm who are
Mm.
really Christian, and they said they felt more love than a mom giving birth, and so it
Yeah.
Yeah.
was really
I've heard that a
special.
lot on
So.
near death experiences too. Like it's either like a loved one, like you say, or it's literally Jesus and they just know it's Jesus and he's like, telling them they can't stay, but he loves them, and they just feel this heavy love. And I think that's really cool.
It actually
So
makes me feel really good because they always want to stay there. They don't want to come back
yeah.
here. And it's like
Yeah.
they just barely got there. Like, why does it feel that good? We can't, I don't think we can comprehend or understand it, but it must be amazing
Well, they say
because
the light spectrum, there's a different color spectrum than we know here when we're in that realm because
like they can't even describe the color. Yeah.
it's like three times the 3D because we're in 3D right now, but there's like you're saying there's different, even more
5D.
dimensions,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
just it blows you away. It sounds like so that's cool.
Yeah, when people, yeah, near death experience, and then when they do ayahuasca or some of these plant medicines too, they kind of expand their consciousness, and
Yeah,
man, they feel really good on that too. So,
yeah,
It's
um,
awesome.
cool. Well, thanks again, man, and yeah, we'll get it out probably in the next week or so,
Hmm.
week and a half. I'll hit you up, or he'll hit you up on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll send you a
And
message and before I post anything, I'll get all your links and stuff and just make sure I include everything you want to be included on the show notes and stuff. So should be awesome.
excellent.
Yeah, we
All right,
appreciate it.
looking forward to it. Thanks for having me. Great questions too. That was
Hey,
fun.
thank you. Yeah, thanks for taking the time. That was awesome.
Yeah, I hope it gets some people coming to you too, for sure, and hopefully it helps all of us,
I'm gonna download the
get
app
more
for
people.
real.
Yeah, let me know how I can promote it. Just whatever you guys want me to do, add me as a collaborator and I'll share it to my story. Send me the link to the YouTube and I'll put that in my story and however I
Sweet.
can promote it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, bro. Well, have a good night. That was awesome.
We appreciate
Yep,
it.
take care. Thanks.
See ya.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.